guys, what's up? It's Katy Candy and the Droker here with another episode of From Comics to Cinemas podcast. For those of you who don't know, we are gamers on Twitch, and you can see the links to those channels in the description of this video and at the end of the video. Make sure to drop us a follow. Now remember, you can watch the live recording of the show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the Candyland Discord. So who are we going to be talking about today, Droker? I'm super excited about this guy.
Bill Murray, right? Kingpin?
Yes,
No.
yes. Fun fact about that movie, the bowling alley of that was called the Blue Spruce, and it was in Export, PA, which is like kind of from where I'm from.
Wow, look at that.
Look at that. Fun
That's pretty
factoid
cool.
for the day. Nothing to do with Marvel or DC Comics, but hey, you love those random factoids.
I actually do. I'm not going to lie.
I do too.
Big fan.
I do. Yes, so today we are actually going to be talking about one of the most infamous villains of all time in the Marvel Universe, the Kingpin of crime, Wilson Fisk. So let's get to know the man who is known to some as a ruthless and accomplished businessman, a common criminal beneath contempt to others, but to those who truly, truly know him, he is the Kingpin, a powerful overlord of every criminal activity in New York City. And apparently I can't say criminal.
It's okay. You don't need to. And when you're the Kingpin and the size he is, you don't really need to use words either. Actions speak louder than words.
That is very true. And that's actually kind of funny because, like, as a child, he realized very early on that, like, brute strength was a way to become successful. So, because, you know, it's kind of Kingpin has such, like, a vast comic history. We could spend so many episodes on him. So we're just going to touch base on a few of, like, the main things a few of our favorite storylines.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, and maybe go over some of his powers and abilities because, like, I feel like a lot of people just see him as, like, kind of like an enforcer type guy. But he's got some pretty cool stuff going on that I don't think a lot of people may really know about. And I want to say this before we get started. Vincent D'Onofrio. Oh, he is
chef's kiss.
He is my
kiss.
He is my Kingpin. Like,
agreed.
He plays him so well. They did such a great job casting him in the Netflix series, and I was so excited to see him in Hawkeye continuing that role. So I Vincent, you are
same. Yeah,
amazing.
I gotta be honest. That saved Hawkeye for me. That entire cameo saved that entire show for me because wasn't the biggest fan. I'm not saying it was bad. I just personally, wasn't the best for me. But man, when I saw him, I was like, oh, now I see the point of the show.
Yeah,
got it.
Yeah, and I kind of had a feeling we were gonna either see him or get a mention of him when Maya Lopez was introduced as Echo.
True.
Because he actually raised Echo after he killed her father, Crazy Horse, aka Willie Lincoln. So and he had him killed because he was in competition with him, even though he was his right-hand man. It's kind of like Kingpin does everything to be the best and to be number one and to be on top. So, like, even if you work with him and you have, like, a business under him, but it's kind of getting competitive with his, look out, because it's not gonna be good for you.
Yeah, that kind of, like, manipulation and, like, I guess crime building. I don't know what crime syndicate building. He did that as a kid, as a teenager. He just had that natural. I mean, he used it for evil, I guess, but he was a leader. That's leadership role right there.
He actually that's when he got his nickname, right? As a teenager. So he used his leadership abilities and everything to coerce others to join his gang, and he became known as the Kingpin of crime as a teenager, which is amazing if you think about it. And like everyone thinks like he's not like we know he's a fighter, but he actually trained himself in bodybuilding and sumo. He had a big interest in political science. He actually stole books and read them. And he's not just like a dumb brute. Like Kingpin is very intelligent, and I think a lot of people kind of forget that about him because he has a way of just manipulating things behind the scenes a lot of the time, which is you don't always think about when you see Kingpin, right? And then but you kind of for those of you who just got to know Kingpin in the Daredevil series, you kind of saw that like he tried to make it
That was me.
he was always manipulating behind the scenes, and he even like tried to basically he always wanted to stay one step above the law, right? So to speak, or not maybe above the law, but maybe make it so everything he's doing is legal. So he like bought like this spice trade company, and the money that he got through there he used to fund his criminal empire. And so he was always kind of like out of reach a little bit from the law until like Daredevil came around.
Yeah.
Right? But I think what's really cool, and I didn't realize this until we read a little bit, we were reading about him, was that he was involved in Damage Control, which was a government operated company, and it was co-founded by Fisk, Tony Stark, and Anne Marie Hoag. And it's funny that Tony Stark's involved, right? So basically what Damage Control was, it was, you know, when all these superheroes and villains get to battling, stuff gets destroyed, right?
Yep.
So there was this government operated company, not really foundation, but they were kind of set aside to help those out with all the property and businesses that were destroyed in, you know, the battles. But then Stark found out about Fisk's secret reputation, and I use quotation marks there because it was technically a secret. Like a lot of people didn't realize it. And then Fisk eventually dropped out, leaving Anne Marie as the sole founder. But see, he was always trying to be in like, he was always trying to keep his hands clean while they were dirty.
Yeah, as much as he broke the law, he tried to work within the law at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like again manipulation. That I mean, that's classic manipulation right there. You're attacking from both sides.
Yeah.
Because there is no white or black with Fisk. It is just what he wants, right? And he gets what he wants and wants what he gets. So for the most part, sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he gets his butt kicked by Spider-Man. But you know,
but he really doesn't get his butt kicked that much. And,
no, for the most part.
And, you know, Spider-Man nearly killed Spider-Man, or Spider-Man nearly killed him, but that was in the prison, right? That was after he had hired a hit out on Aunt May and everything, and Spider-Man found out, and Spider-Man in a rage just went after Fisk, and he was like, I could suffocate you with my webbing, essentially. And he didn't. And, you know, then Spider-Man turned around and all the inmates were there. He was like, if anyone comes after my family, it was basically like a warning.
I think he did it without a mask too. He was just like, you know, Spider-Man suit from like neck down, if I remember correctly. And he just, he got in graphic detail too. He was like, I'm going to shoot webbing down your throat and like into your lungs. You're like, whoa, Parker, what's going on there, bud?
It's like, this is not the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man that we know. What is
down
happening?
For this ride? Yeah, he's again with the manipulation. Fisk exists in the gray. That is what he does. And if there's no gray, he makes it gray.
Yes, he does. He does, and that's what makes him such a great character, right? Like he's always trying to. He's one of those villains that's not like, yeah, I know I'm dirty, I don't really care, right? He's like, I'm gonna try to make it look like I'm clean, even though I'm really not. So he's a lot of depth as a character too. Like if the majority of the things that Wilson Fisk does, he does for Vanessa, which is his wife, and it's the reason like he nearly killed was it Daredevil or Spider-Man? I can't remember which. I want to say it was Daredevil, but Vanessa kind of stopped him because she was like, it's either me or this.
Right. Yeah.
And
Because well, yeah, that's a dark path.
yeah, yeah. And you know, it was that kind of that pause because she gave him 24 hours to pick either being the kingpin or being her husband.
Right.
And within the 24 hours, the very end of the 24 hours was when they got into that big battle. And she literally walked up to him as he was about to end him and was like, "Your time is up. Who is it?" He was like, "Just 60 more seconds, just
Yep.
60 more seconds." And she was like, "No, your time is up." And so that spared him his life, which is like
Hmm.
amazing. So yeah, everything he did basically for her. And it's kind of funny too because, you know, they had a kid together,
Yeah.
Richard,
Richard.
and he thought Richard was weak and all of this other stuff. And Richard actually became the Rose and like what tried to take over his criminal empire, but then Richard uh, got killed.
Yeah.
So it's kind of wild because you would think, okay, well, if he has this much love for his wife, he should have this much love for his son, but he didn't. But Vanessa did try to
Right.
like hide Richard from all of the criminal activity that was going on, that Kingpin was doing. So I think that's kind of had a lot to do with it. But um, Vanessa is the reason for one of my favorite story arcs, and I feel like we should get into these a little bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's just send it into Born Again. I mean,
I'm
let's just
I'm full
yeah. Let's just send
sending.
it. Let's just go. Let's just go for it. I mean, we have to talk about this one, right? Like,
I
is
I I love this one. This is one of my all-time favorite comic story arcs. If you guys haven't read the Born Again storyline for Daredevil, you need to read it because it's one of my all-time favorite ones. So I was so excited when we decided to do Kingpin because I was like, yes, I can talk about Born Again. And I'm sorry for yelling.
that's fine. It's a great story. Like it's so good.
Yeah,
It's so good.
it's my all-time absolute favorite storylines. And so for those of you who don't know, Fisk was desperate to kind of save his wife, and there was kind of this whole big thing where Dr. Paul Mondat's assistant, he kind of kidnapped Vanessa, and then like all of this stuff happened, and Mondat kind of restored her mental health but made her loyal only to him. And then it made Vanessa fearing Fisk, which, you know, kind of set Fisk off. And
Mhm.
so Mondat took Vanessa to Europe for further treatment. And then Fisk was so angry about how his plan to save his wife basically turned against him. He blamed Daredevil and he wanted to get revenge on Daredevil so bad, but he didn't want to just kill Daredevil. He wanted to make Daredevil's life a living hell. And he really, really did. And yes, thank you. Born Again is one of Frank Miller's greatest works. I mean, he's done a
Yeah.
lot, and I think I'm biased.
You don't say.
I know I might be a little bit biased. So basically, what happens is Karen Page, who we all know from the show, right? The little cute blonde, kind of the little secretary for Matt Murdock, finds out that he's Daredevil, blah, 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 blah. So, of course, she knows his secret identity. And for those of you who don't know, it wasn't mentioned in the show, but in the past, she was addicted to heroin and all kind of other drugs. So she kind of gets on this kick again of being hooked on drugs and kind of doing porn and you know, some other stuff. So she needed to get that fix, right? She needed to get that fix. And who could help her get that fix but Kingpin? And so she basically sells Matt Murdock's identity as Daredevil to Kingpin for, a shot of heroin,
Yeah.
which is like, when you look at that from a comment, like, it's so sad and so depressing. You're just kind of like, oh no. So then it gets bad.
Yeah.
It gets bad for Matt. His accounts get frozen by the IRS. The bank forecloses on his home. A police lieutenant testifies against him, accusing him of buying witnesses, and he's barred from practicing law. Matt is just like, this has gotta be a string of bad luck, right? That's gotta be a string of bad luck. Then Kingpin bombs Murdoch's home.
Yep.
And so after that, Murdoch is like, okay, this is not just like a coincidence. So, he's become paranoid, like all this other stuff. And so Kingpin goes even farther with this, and he hires Nuke. So for those of you who don't know, Nuke was kind of like a government soldier of fortune, let's call him, aka a merc. So he sent Nuke out. Nuke was actually the one who bombed the house, which then drew out Daredevil. But Daredevil, of course, defeated Nuke. But this kind of backfired on Kingpin because Nuke was taken into custody by the Avengers. And so it kind of gets a little bit even more chaotic for Kingpin because then Nuke escapes and attacks the Daily Bugle. And then both Captain America and Daredevil are trying to stop Nuke, but then the government kind of kills Nuke in a desperate attempt to cover their tracks because, hey, we're the government, right? Could totally
Makes sense to me.
I mean, it would totally be plausible. That was a word. That was a phrase. But then Nuke actually, before the government could end Nuke exposes Kingpin to Daredevil and the public, which forces Kingpin to then step down and kind of go into hiding. And it's a wild story. And I know like that was like the short version of it because it's just it's crazy because you have so many you've got a team up of Cap America and Daredevil, and then you've got Nuke, and you've got Kingpin who's basically trying to destroy Matt Murdock's life, and it's crazy. And like he even tries to like set up Daredevil to go to the night nurse to catch him with the night nurse. So, which I really was hoping that Rosario Dawson's character was going to be the night nurse, and then they were like, no, that's not going to be the night nurse. And I was like, get out of here. She's the night nurse.
She literally was, though.
She was.
Let's be honest.
She was. Like, I love this story so much because it just shows like the extent that Kingpin is willing to go to get his way, and just basically he just becomes ruthless, right? He just becomes ruthless to try to, justify what he thought was right. Like he blamed Daredevil for what happened to Vanessa, even though it really wasn't Daredevil's fault, kind of sort of.
Right.
So. But when Kingpin gets on something, he's like a dog with a bone, right? Like he's not gonna let it go.
Yeah, he does hyperfixate. That is definitely one of the things, but that's also what makes him extremely like we're talking about it right now.
So
makes him extremely dangerous. Yeah.
It makes him one of the most dangerous, and probably and why he's one of the most infamous villains out there. Because once he gets on something, he is fixated on it, and like they did a really good job of showing that in the show, which I love. Oh, yeah. I thought they did an amazing job of showing that in the show. And they kind of did a little bit of the Born Again storyline in the show, and I really thought that was the direction that they were heading, and I was getting really excited. And then they were like, no more Daredevil. And I was
just a little bit. Just a little bit, yeah. Just a little bit. You just got it's a taste. You never know. They may continue it. I don't, because I'm still confused on whether this is the whole thing going to Disney is with Daredevil in particular is going to be a a reboot or a continuation. I'm unsure of that. I don't know if I've read anything on that. I don't know if that information is out there, but
Well,
it would be nice to kind of see this, because I mean,
it's
this is one of, you're right, it's one of Frank Miller's
it's
greatest stories
so
ever told. It
good.
really is. It really is.
Well, it's so funny that you say that too, because Charlie Cox actually said in an interview, and I know this is supposed to be about Kingpin, but you can't talk about Kingpin without talking about Daredevil and
They're
Spider-Man
kind of
because
intertwined.
yeah, they're if you look at it from Kingpin's perspective, Spider-Man and Daredevil are his biggest foes.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I would agree.
But Charlie Cox actually said in an interview that he wouldn't like to see a complete continuation because there's been so much time. So, but he would like to see like something similar. Okay. So, not like a direct continuation, which would make sense, right? Because time has passed. I mean, Kingpin's been in Hawkeye. So, you know, some time has passed, so it would make sense for not a straight continuation, but kind of like a continuation with stuff missing, right? Like, not necessarily, I don't want to say continuation. That's a bad choice of words. And not necessarily a startup, right?
Maybe in the same universe. I don't know how to describe, because it's such a weird, has this ever happened before? I mean, this is a complete tangent, but has this ever happened before? Like ever with like a TV show, like it gets dropped by like one production company and gets picked up by another, and it's supposed to be the same but like different. I'm kind of confused on it.
Lucifer was on what, NBC or CBS, and then went to Netflix.
That's right, and it had better success on Netflix.
It had much better, and it was yeah. But they did keep it as a continuation. But
DC, by the way,
that's such a, we should do Lucifer.
We should do Lucifer. Now I have to watch it.
Oh my god, it's so good. And like I swear I don't watch it because he's super hot.
Yeah, not at all. It's totally about the production of the show that I'm sure is really good.
And he's shirtless.
I'm not knocking the show. I'm sorry. I shouldn't even knock the show. I haven't seen. I shouldn't do that. I'm gonna get roasted for that. I literally haven't seen.
It's actually a decent show. I enjoyed it. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hope they continue it. I just want more Vinny. I want more Vincent. I can't say his last name. I'm just gonna call him Vinny. I want more Vinny as Kingpin.
D'Onofrio.
Disaronno. I don't. That's just literally what I want to say. Every time I hear his last name, I just brought Disaronno on the rocks. Anyway, I'm not an alcoholic. It's just I want to see more of him, and I want to see, honestly, and I don't mean this in like a really like body image negative way. I want to see him bigger. I mean, I want a bigger Kingpin.
Well, and that's the thing. I feel like a lot of people think is like they always make jokes, and I mean, when we played that silly tap swipe game, I was known to make the jokes of being like, oh great, I gotta come up against Fatty, or I gotta use Fatty. But that's the thing, is Kingpin is not fat. That is muscle.
Yes. Yeah, he's like literally just. We know when people say like, I'm not fat, I'm just big boned. Like Kingpin literally is just big boned. He's just built big. And it's weird because like he's huge, but he's got baby face. So it's like, he's got kind of an innocent quality when you first like look at him. You're like, soft baby face, like, Mr. Clean, bald completely. But then like you learn about him, and he's not innocent at all, and he knows how to use that weight. Like we've talked about, he's like bulletproof basically. He can get stabbed, but like it really doesn't do anything to him. He just kind of like laughs as he gets stabbed. Which they did a really good job of that in the Netflix Daredevil show. I mean, he just was an absolute unit in that show, and they did a good job, man. It was really, like, even though he didn't look physically like as big as like Kingpin in the comics, like they did a good job showing off like that he is just.
Can we just agree on one thing though? Is that they definitely made him maybe a little bit too big in Into the Spider-Verse?
Oh yeah. I 100% agree with you. Those proportions were interesting, to say the least. Like,
he was
he was a thing.
Yeah,
it wasn't bad. It was different,
awkward,
very different. But you know what's really funny is like halfway through the show, you honestly stop noticing it. But at first, it definitely right there in your face. And what's funny is like since we're talking about this, another weird Kingpin look I discovered doing this research, and it's a movie I never even heard of, which is The Trial of the Incredible Hulk, 1989.
Guido.
Yeah, apparently there's like he looks like a Guido Kingpin. He's got like a goatee. He has facial hair. He actually has hair. He's got like shiny sunglasses, and he's got like like the suit. He just it's it's a very interesting look. That was actually his first appearance in a movie. He appeared in he appeared in the '67 Spider-Man animated show first. That was like
Hmm.
the first time he appeared like on screen, and then I guess in '89, which I mean, sure, why not? That sure is a Kingpin, I guess. I guess during the '80s, late '80s, they were still riding that like I don't know mobster movie motif. I don't.
Well,
It's a
that's
thing.
probably, I mean, yeah, I look at it, which I haven't seen that movie, but now I like
Yeah,
low
so,
key want to watch it, right?
I did
Like,
too. It looked,
but yeah, I guess they were probably going with that because mobster, kingpin, mob
yeah,
boss. But
yeah. I don't know. The actor's name was John Rhys Davies. I don't know who that is. I don't know if somebody does know who that is, but it's his veteran actor, John. And then after that, of course, we got the oh so great movie in 2003 with Ben Affleck and Michael Clark Duncan as Kingpin, which was another take on Kingpin, which I did like, but I this was again like I was like a teenager. I
I
didn't
don't,
know a lot of Marvel,
I
so just
don't, I don't talk about that movie.
forgive me for liking certain parts of that
We
movie.
don't, we don't. Where's Verge? We don't talk about that BS.
Talking about it, no, but he was a really good take, but it was that was more of like the for me. I was like, oh, he's like a crime lord. He's like he's almost like a Black Mask, I guess, from DC, or like a Penguin, kind of thing,
Yeah.
like a mob boss, basically, kind of just overlord. So that was really, I mean, that was it. And then of course now we were talking about Vincent and the great job he's been doing with the character, and now so much so that like I don't think I can ever watch another Kingpin.
I know I can't unless it's the
Yeah.
bowling movie.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to watch that movie too. I really, really am. I know it's gonna have to happen. I know it's gonna have to happen. And then so not only does Kingpin have because okay, this is something we also has like a little footnote. Like I guess when Frank Miller took over, he kind of got rid of Kingpin's tech. Like I
Yeah.
guess Kingpin had some technology he was running about using like I know the cane is very much his like kind of signature, but I guess up until that point he was using a bunch of different stuff, and I guess the cane is what really stuck around since then after Frank Miller. He didn't really like do a retcon, but it's kind of looked at like a retcon because after Frank Miller, he did the weaponry kind of it's just like the cane and like him just being just a boss basically,
Yeah.
which was really cool. I don't know. I'm trying to read what it is. I know it's stored energy and it could like damage of the cane could go anywhere from like just knocking somebody out to just completely vaporizing somebody. Which I'm like, what energy is that? I tried to look it up. I couldn't find it, so I have no idea how a stick could. I mean, he's Kingpin reasons, I guess.
Kingpin reasons.
Maybe he's I don't know, just Kingpin reasons, just stole Stark technology and just put it in a cane. I don't know, but it's interesting that it's a cane. It's just and he's so big, you would think it'd be like a rocket launcher or like I don't know, a Beretta 50 caliber or something. No, it's a laser cane.
I
It goes
mean,
pew pew.
but who wouldn't want a laser cane?
I mean, I want one now after learning about it. But if I walked into like an armory of like Marvel weapons and there was a cane on the wall, I don't think I would give it a second glance. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I don't know. I might, because I might be like, what is that doing here? What is that? Right? Like, you have all these weapons, and then there's a random cane? What does that do?
Don't lie, it's because it's shiny. It has a diamond on it and it's
I
shiny.
mean,
Don't
listen.
actually I don't even think it's a diamond. It's some kind of gem.
It's not. It's definitely a gem.
Yeah, it's some kind of gem. I'm pretty sure like focuses the laser blast or something. I was reading. My head hurt after reading all this Kingpin stuff.
Joe was literally like, anytime you say something, he'd be like, "Did you just say Kingpin?" It's like, no, I said, "Do you want to play Apex?" Oh yeah.
It's just there's just man, he just a unit, just an absolute unit of a character that did a good job. I don't know. He works from the shadows, but he can also throw a whole like oak desk at somebody if he needs
Hmm.
to. He tries to he's like a quiet rage. That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah,
Kingpin's literally like
that's
just quiet rage. Just
that's actually a really
yeah,
excellent way. And like another thing which is really cool is like he's basically immune to hypnotism. Like
yeah, that's right.
Purple Man, the Purple Man, could not he could not influence him. He could
That's
not be
right.
under the Purple Man's influence, which is amazing because you have to have such a strong mental discipline in order to not be affected by the Purple Man, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's really cool that he's just like, bruh, what?
I think he's impervious to some like psychic attacks as well.
Yeah.
A little bit of mental attacks. He kind of he's got such like a strong, you said, willpower basically that he
Hmm.
just no, you're not gonna. He's not weak willed. He's not weak mentally. He's just as strong mentally as he is physically.
Yeah.
He's a crazy
He's
character.
and that's the thing I think people kind of forget about too is he's just overall if you look at him from a whole, he is extremely powerful and he has no like superpowers really or anything like that. He's just a dude who is strong-willed and trained himself and that's how he is. And I think a lot of people kind of forget that about him. You would just assume like he's this super powered being, and he's not. He's just a big dude who has gone through rigorous training that he put himself through and is so mentally disciplined that he's just the way that he is. And I think, wasn't he like 12 years old when he committed his first murder? Like,
I think so. He was young.
he was young. Like, so it's not like he just like started out one day in like his 20s. No, this was been going on since before he was a teenager. He was running things, and he was running things behind the scenes even as a child. Like he would kind of like persuade people to do things for him. And so like it's crazy. So he just kind of built on that as the years went on and everything like that. So
I
he's
mean, yeah,
such a cool character.
yeah. It's. I mean, we saw in the Netflix show and we see it in the comics. He can run things from prison. Like prison doesn't stop him.
Mm-mm.
It's just
Prison
it's a
doesn't
minor
stop him.
inconvenience.
It's just a
Yeah,
minor inconvenience.
yeah.
Being out of the country doesn't stop
Doesn't
him.
know. Yeah. Again, minor inconvenience. Like,
Yeah.
oh no, it's an extra step I got to deal with. Like that's exactly how he tackles it too. Like it's just
And then like when he does lose control of his empire, he gets it back. But it
oh
is
yeah.
not good for the people.
He takes it personally.
He takes it personally. When he went, I think it was when he went to prison and came back, so many of his enforcers and like his right hand men, he just killed because he was like,
Hmm.
you didn't do your job.
Yep. Can't trust you anymore.
Yeah, he was like,
Yep.
you didn't do your job. So it would kind of be like, I wouldn't want to work for Kingpin.
Yeah, it's like going back to the mental. Like another notable mention, I think, from a completely different universe was the Amalgam universe. They crossed Kingpin and the Riddler, which I completely forgot about, and I do remember seeing that when I was a kid.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah,
this.
so you had Edward Nigma Fisk, and he was basically
Oh my
the Kingpin and
God.
Riddler mixed together. He was the mayor of New Gotham City and its crime lord. And we talked about that duality where he tries to work both in and out the law at the same time, even in the Amalgam universe. Which that's a crazy combination because going back to his intelligence thing, that would scare the hell out of me.
That that
Yeah,
would
just
be
imagine a Bane-sized Riddler.
wild.
Yeah, that's just insane. I read that and my jaw hit the floor. I was like, I forgot about that combination.
I didn't.
Because I was thinking Green Lantern with the whole willpower that he has, but yeah, no, Riddler was a good. That was a good one.
That would be terrifying.
Yeah, yeah. Imagine being like, you're going to be some like little weakling, like super smart guy, and you just turn the corner and you just see Fisk, just a hulking unit, just like, yeah, what? That was me. I'm that smart too. What's up?
Just nope.
Like, I should not have come down this alley. Crap.
That's like I'm just gonna back up. Maybe if I do the
Yeah.
T-Rex, he did it. I don't move. He doesn't see me.
And I
Right.
grabbed crappy notes for the What If because the What If story arc is more about Punisher than it is about Kingpin. So I'm not even gonna really. It's like the Punisher has the Venom symbiote and it's
Oh yeah.
Typhoid Mary, Kingpin, and Tombstone. Terrible notes. I should have fed that a little further before.
I see that.
But
I see that. It's one sentence.
it's yeah. It's
Oh
like
no,
three.
it's two.
It's one sentence,
It's
three
two.
lines. It's just like it happened last time too. I got to be a little more careful. But yeah, so there was a what if story arc. I apologize. I don't really know, and I didn't read any newer stuff because I was so getting caught up with basically just everything else in his history
He's
and
got
how deep his character goes, especially with his family.
he's got such a big history and like everything. It's kind of crazy.
This is what I want to talk about too. Going back to his training, he was not only sumo, but like specifically Hapkido, which
Yes.
Hapkido is a martial arts that's extremely brutal. It's very like violent. I say violent movement, like martial arts isn't a violent thing, but like it's when you think of Hapkido, it's not very flowy. It's just very like abrupt and like you're basically flipping people and doing very very close combat damage. So that's again speaks to his that's kind of how he fights. He gets personal. He gets up close. He's a great wrestler, street fighter. He's trained in like all these weapons, but like he still chooses to fist fight
Yeah.
because it's personal with
It's
him.
personal.
He wants you to feel his fists. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of how he is, and that's just like when I saw the Hapkido, I was like, that's crazy. That makes so much sense.
He's basically like full send. Like when he goes,
Yeah, yeah,
he full sends. Like there's no like really like stopping, so to
yeah.
speak.
Yeah, when you think of that martial arts, Batman's another one that comes to mind. He's one who enforces that a lot too. Very brutal and just quick end the fight, quick make it hurt. you know, but Philip Fisk obviously is not afraid of going the full measure,
No.
which he's proven. And I love that he's a Spider-Man and Daredevil villain when he could clearly be an Avenger threat anytime he wanted to be.
Oh yeah.
But it's because he again personal with these two with him. So
It is. Because he kind of thinks that like any bad thing that's happened to him or his family is because of Daredevil or Spider-Man. So it's why he takes everything so personal and why he has such a vendetta against them. Now he does actually kind of team up with them at certain points, but it's only to benefit him, and then like he gets betrayed by Daredevil like a couple times.
Correct.
So
Well,
like
yeah.
you kind of see why he's kind of like, dude.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I can't wait to see what they do with him in the MCU because are they and I really hope they focus more on his like just physical toughness. I just kind of want to see him like go up against something incredible and just take it.
I
Um
honestly
I don't know.
like I would love to see him and Spider-Man go toe to toe in the MCU. I would love to see that scene, but of course Aunt May. By the way, spoiler alert if you haven't seen No Way Home yet, and if you haven't, I'm sorry, not sorry. But Aunt May of course is already dead, so
Yeah. 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 So it'll like and wait, didn't they erase everybody's memory?
yes.
So
Of who Spider-Man is.
right of who Spider-Man is. So does oh, I guess Fisk would remember. Never mind. Because I was gonna say, would that work on Fisk? Because if he's like mentally tough, would that work on him, or would he be like the one to remember, and they're gonna like double back on that story arc again, where like he gets
Oh.
exposed,
I don't know.
right?
I don't know because even Doctor Strange, it wiped it wiped Doctor Strange memory that Peter Parker was Spider-Man.
Because
So
yeah, because if Fisk is in the universe, that he knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man because of the Mysterio thing.
yeah,
So I wonder if that's gonna carry over.
but then again, he hasn't really had any run-ins with Spider-Man.
It's true, but he's
Yeah,
New York's his city.
yeah.
That's
New
his
York is
baby.
his
He
city.
knows the pulse. To assume that Kingpin would know about Spider-Man. It's a
That
very
is
big
true.
assumption.
That's a huge assumption.
Yeah. Unless he hit his head really hard, which you probably have to drop a building on Fisk's head to
I
give him a
think.
concussion.
I think.
What happened to my apartment building? Well, I needed to knock out Kingpin, and it was the only thing that would work.
What happened to the Brooklyn Bridge?
Oh,
I swung it at Kingpin.
oof. Yeah, I don't know. It'll like I said, it'll be interesting to see where they go, man. It'll be and like, will he be more tied in with Hawkeye because he was introduced in Hawkeye? Is he like, is he going to be an Avengers thing? Is it going to be a Daredevil thing? Is it going to
Well,
be
I think with the Echo series
Mhm.
starting, I think we're gonna see probably a lot of him in that because, you know, so in the comics, he killed Maya's dad, right? Willie Lincoln, aka Crazy
Right.
Horse. And then he adopted Maya and saw the kind of crazy reflexes that she had. So then he sent her off to a special school where he could still kind of like supervise, but from a distance. But then, so then in the show, like we know that he kind of took her under his wing and did all this training with her. And then she found out that he did, in fact, have her father killed. And so I think probably the Echo series is going to focus heavily on that. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. That would actually, because that'd be a great origin / just story arc to start that series with.
Yeah.
Like, I'm already on board.
Yeah. And like Echo, Brandon's right. Echo is tied to Daredevil in the comics heavily.
That's true. That's true.
So,
which makes sense.
Yeah.
Like the name Echo, he kind of sees like a bat. I'm just saying.
That's not why.
Shh, that's why.
That's not why she's called Echo.
That's why they're tied in, Katy.
Edit that out, please.
Don't you take this away
Oh
from me.
no, I'm gonna
No,
put a
please.
nice. Nope, I'm gonna leave that in, and I'm gonna
You put like a bat with sonic location going back and forth, and like nope. That's how it makes sense in my head.
I'm just gonna put FFS.
No, that's literally how I remembered that, because I remember reading that in the comic Vine, and I remember like, okay, that makes sense because they're tied together, and we'll just put that in that universe over there. Because like I was thinking of like bats and spiders, and like listen, I compartmentalize information extremely weird in my head. Okay, it's how I access it. It works for me. But yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense that series will kind of tend to focus on that, and then you could, I mean, because then you could build Daredevil off of that too. Like because knowing from what B said in the chat, knowing that you could build, like you could make it full circle. That series could go into Daredevil and continue on, kind of thing. Maybe that'll be it. Oh, I think I misspoke. One of the other streams too, or one of the other podcasts was, I believe I said Captain Atom instead of the Atom, and that is a huge mistake because they are not the same. I caught it. I was like, oof. I was like, that's not the same character, Dro. I was talking about the Legends of Tomorrow, and it was that was definitely a correction. It's definitely Atom, the Atom, not Captain Atom. Well, very different. Well, the Atom's like Molecule Man.
Well, yeah, and,
excuse me, Captain Atom like Molecule. See, I did it again.
Captain Atom was in the Charlatan comics with Peacemaker.
Yeah. He was the one who can like control like matter. The Atom is the one that's like the ant who can shrink down into like really small. Yeah, the
Atom's basically like Ant-Man.
Yeah.
But better and cooler.
Yeah.
Oh, Echo has been Ronin, and she's the current Phoenix. She's the current Phoenix?
The current?
Really?
What? The Ronin tie-in's nice to hear, though, because that means we might be able to see...
Well, and that ties in with Hawkeye, too, because there was the whole Ronin suit. So...
I forgot about that. Yeah, sorry. I didn't like that show. I thought it was a dumb story. I'm sorry.
Is it because it was a Christmas story?
No, not even. That's part of the reason why I like it. It was just because it's hard for me to believe that like these guys got their hands on the Ronin suit and are auctioning it off like at an underground eBay, and like this is the story you're going with.
They did kind of make the tracksuit mafia look like a bunch of bumbling idiots. like they basically made them, to me, they kind of made them look like the two burglars from Home Alone.
Oh my god, that's same energy for sure.
And I didn't really like that.
No, I'm dead. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it now.
They are bumbling idiots, but I felt like they made them like
They weren't the wet bandits, though. You know what I mean?
The wet bandits. I forgot their name.
They were the sticky bandits in part 2. You know what I'd like? If there's a McKay Kingpin story out there, someone point me in the right direction. I'm a McKay stan now, so just anything he's written, I just want to know more. If he's done Kingpin, yes, I'm about it. Oh man. Yeah, crazy, crazy.
Don't
And I didn't
Google
even know
that.
he had a. I didn't. I didn't know he had a son until I started researching. I'm going to be honest with you. The whole Richard Fisk.
Yep.
I did not know that was a whole. That's why
Moon Knight
put it in
battles
notes.
Moon Knight battles Kingpin from prison in Marvel's Devil's Reign. I forgot about Devil's Reign.
What?
Hmm.
Devil's Reign, Chip Zdarsky.
The
Okay.
anti-hero will face off against the Kingpin in his own series and a new tie-in book. Moon Knight will take on Wilson Fisk during the new event and will find himself behind bars as he tries to protect his city from the mayor of New York's reckoning. In the new Moon Knight series, Mark Spector has abandoned obeying the will of Khonshu after he attempted to take over the world. However, he is still offering protection to those who need it, opening up the Midnight Mission congregation in New York, where he's teamed up with a vampire named Reese. But as he's tried to continue his work in Manhattan, a new threat called Hunter's Moon, a worshiper and second fist of Khonshu, who is essentially Moon
Let's
Knight's
go.
deadly other half,
Let's
emerged.
go.
Things aren't about to get easier for Moon Knight, as a new look at his upcoming story shows Mark Spector's world falling apart around him.
So it ties into the Hunter's Moon stuff.
Yep.
Let's go, dude.
Kingpin
Let's
will send.
go.
Here we go. Kingpin will send the newly formed Thunderbolts to track down Moon Knight and take him down.
Oh, he's got Moon Knight versus the.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Yeah.
That actually sounds awesome.
Here, I'm gonna. I save this image.
That sounds so awesome. You're right. You're writing stories that just tickle my fancy, man. I just, especially with Moon Knight.
Wait. There's more.
Mm. Oh, yo, he's got the glyphs on the wall. That's awesome.
It'll be. Oh, it's out now, March 2nd, 2022.
Oh man. Yeah, I imagine Moon Knight would do just fine in prison. all of the Moon Knights actually would do just fine in prison. I don't think that's definitely a Rorschach moment.
Never mind. I was gonna say it. Did you just say?
You know what? Love Shack baby. Sorry. It was the other thing that popped in my head when thinking of the thing you were thinking of. So
So good.
oh my gosh. So yeah, I guess it'll be interesting to see. Now
I was
I
gonna
guess what
say,
we
I
get in-
felt like I heard something about this. So, okay, I wasn't wrong. I wasn't going crazy.
What's that?
Oh, about the Devil's Reign.
Yeah. See, I didn't hear anything about that. That sounds like an amazing story that I need to read. Okay, you know what? I'm a Moon Knight stan now.
I'm a Midnight Stan.
Terrible. You guys are ruining me. I'm a DC fanboy. I swear I'm a DC fanboy. I might need a Marvel tattoo now.
You're gonna get a Moon Knight one.
I probably. I'm not even. You know what? It's funny. I was thinking about it. I would do like the theater face, but with Moon Knight and having all the different personalities be the theater face.
That would be cool.
That's what I was thinking.
That would be cool.
If somebody could draw that, I think that'd be a pretty cool tattoo. Put it on my back. Call it a day.
Hear that, guys? Anyone hit Joker up on Discord with those images?
If McKay goes to DC, honestly, I would love him to do like none of the A-list stuff. Hands off. I would like to see like Static Shock or like I don't even know, man. I gotta get caught up on current DC titles to be completely honest with you.
I mean, if McKay is doing this good of a job with like
they may not let him go.
Moon Knight, I feel like he should re-up Vigilante.
Ooh, that would be a
So Vigilante's dead, right? In the comics, or is he alive? I can't remember.
Adrian's dead.
Adrian's dead. Dorian is alive.
Yeah,
That's
Dorian
right.
Dorian has the mantle. I mean, but here's the thing, does anybody ever really stay dead in DC? You've got the
No.
Lazarus Pit. So like what you do is you bring him back. You do like no, never mind. That's just rehashing other stories. Never mind. No, yeah.
To be fair, though, no one really stays dead in comics.
No, that's not. Yeah, exactly.
Except
That's
for
not
Uncle
really
Ben, Karen Page.
Karen Page,
and
which is why.
Yeah, I forget the other two.
That story's so like important. Like that's like, oh, Karen. And comic books do a really good job of touching on drug abuse, like especially like Green Arrow with Speedy back in the day, and then
oh yeah, the Waynes, Tom and Martha Waynes.
Like, yeah, dude. It's just they do a really good job with that kind of stuff. I don't know. It's and then it gets dark, and then you're like, oh man, I have to read more because it's like it just got real. So
that's when you know it's like good, right?
Yeah.
When it keeps you wanting and going back for more, and that's what I mean. Born Again, that's what got me like really hooked on comics.
Frank Miller, man, the Dark Knight part, like it's just the dude can tell a story, even though he hates his stories after he tells them, which makes no sense to me. But I can also respect being a personal self-loather myself. But like when you create such beautiful works of like storytelling, like, and then you don't like them, and you publicly say you don't like them, it's like, dude, I do. So what are you saying about me? Like, ouch.
But we like them.
I guess and that really is what matters in at the end, right? But like, yeah, it's interesting that like he keeps writing these stories. That I think that's why we get along. I can keep getting attracted to heavy stories, man.
We haven't even scratched to the surface yet.
Oh my god, this is too much. This is too much. Also, I gotta ask, who's Hammerhead?
The shark on my back.
Is that the shark on your back is a Marvel character?
Nah, he's a mob boss.
Oh, okay, I know who he is now. Never mind. I'm thinking of like a King Shark looking kind of person, but I know exactly. He looks more like Tombstone than anything else.
Yeah, he's not like King Shark.
Oh, jeez. I know exactly who you're talking about now, but in my head, this is why we don't have nice things.
Hold on. We're gonna.
Yeah. Doesn't he have like metal teeth too?
Yeah, this is him. Kind of. Think of him kind of like Jaws from whatchamacallit? Bond.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm thinking of. Okay. See, this is why I ask questions, because I knew I didn't have it right. I'm like, is there a shark guy in Marvel I don't know about? Because
that guy.
He always wears the mob suit. Yeah, I remember now. Okay. Yeah. This is why we ask. Verge just walked away from the computer. He's just, I'm done with this guy. I'm done with this moron.
That was you totally pictured King Shark, didn't you? Only it was like a hammerhead shark.
I did. You know the toys back in the 90s from the show? They're like,
yes!
the shark. That's what I was picturing.
I'm dead. I can't.
That's because I forgot about this hammerhead, because like he has a literal like it's a hammerhead, not like a hammerhead. Like,
wait, how was that again? I'm gonna make that a GIF.
You should have just said Solomon Grundy, but alive, and I would have got it. Okay, I would have got it. All right, that's all you had to say. The alive Solomon Grundy. Oh, that guy. Okay, I got him. I know who it is. You gotta speak a language I understand. I can't breathe. God. Okay. Well, now that I open my mouth about that.
Aren't you glad you asked who Hammerhead was?
No. Not at all. Oh, man.
Well, today has gone completely off the rails.
Wow, that was just... Why? I forgot that hammerhead even existed until the moment you said the flathead, and I was like, Oh god, I'm stupid. Like I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb. Like I'm not even pretty. Like I'm just dumb, dude.
So I'm gonna send you a
Oh,
box of blonde hair dye.
please do. I'll do it. Let's go. Oh my gosh. Oh.
Brandon just said, "Thank God this wasn't a Hammerhead episode."
Well, that's why I waited till the end to ask, because I didn't know, dude. I didn't look it up because I clearly should have.
Oh
I had to
my
look up
God.
nuke for fucking sake. Like I didn't. I was like nuke. I don't. And then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I did. But like I didn't. Oh. Thanks for coming by, guys. See you next week.
I'm dead.
I just completely derailed the end of the show, but hey, it's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. It's cool.
With the power of editing.
What editing?
Hey, you do a good job.
No. Who said I'm gonna edit this out?
Oh no. Well, there goes my career. Over before it started. How many episodes did we get in? 5? 4? It was a good run.
It's okay. It's okay. I said Josh Flag instead of Rick Flag.
That is true. Joshua.
Joshua Flag.
Joshua.
Then realized it while streaming the editing of the video. Oh no. I admit I have watched too much trashy television, and I think that's a sign that I need to take a break from it.
or just triple down on it and just go deeper.
I mean, I did spend like all day yesterday watching Southern Charm.
See, there you go. That's actually. I'm like, I should stop watching this. Nope, I'm gonna finish it. Screw it. That's exactly what I did with Breaking Bad. I should really take it easy. Nope, finish it all in like a week.
That was good. That was good. I love it. I'm here for it. And guys, we're not even drinking tonight. We have coffee.
I know, dude. I'm on coffee and whatever the hell's in that vape that I lost.
This has been one of the funniest podcasts I think we've done.
Yeah. It's honestly, like, for me, dude, it was just, this is so overwhelming with the amount of info that was out there about Kingpin and the amount of story arcs the dude was involved in. It's just like, bruh.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, he basically runs New York City.
Yeah, he does. He does.
So
he saved it a couple of times too.
Yeah, he has legit saved it because I mean, like, he lives there, right? So. He's obviously going to want to save the city. Like, he never wants to destroy the city, right?
Yeah.
He just wants to run the city.
He just wants to run that's his city.
That's his city. That he just wants to run it, and he wants to run it how he wants to run it. He wants to be the best. He wants to be the most powerful. And, you know, that's kind of how he goes.
Yeah. I can't. Now, I wonder if we'll get to see him fight any other villains in MCU, because like that constantly, like, if their views don't align with his, like, he immediately breaks off. He's like, well, don't need you anymore. Part of my plan. Forget you.
Yeah, or if he thinks they're gonna like double cross him,
right?
Like,
yeah, he'll do it. He'll do it first.
Yeah. He's he's such a complex character, and I think a lot of people kind of forget about that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because we got. I mean, look at the versions we got so far. I mean, before Vincent DiSarno's version, we really didn't have like a deep Kingpin.
We did
in the movies, in the shows. In the comics, I get it, but like,
yeah, in the comics we totally did, but we're talking about MCU. Right? Yeah. So in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Vincent D'Onofrio, and we've said it time and time again on this podcast tonight, but he does such an amazing job as Kingpin, and like, I can't wait to see where they go from here.
Yeah, it'll be. It's gonna be. I'm just happy because, like, I was really wondering about that. I was like, if they're gonna bring, because like I had spoiled Spider-Man for myself, so I knew Daredevil was in it. Like, I knew what was going on, and so I was like, man, if they're bringing those guys along, I really hope they bring him for Kingpin, because like that would. Yes, please, and thank you.
I was like, you just got really bright right there all of a sudden. But yeah, I'm really excited to see where they take him, how they build him even more, because they already made him pretty complex.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I can't wait to see his progression. Like, I really hope they revamp the Daredevil series and they put him in it. They put him in Echo. I want to see him in almost I want to see him, honestly. I want to see him in the next Spider-Man movie too. I want to see him, and I want to see Black Cat. I want to see, because
Ooh.
he gets really irked at Black Cat for stealing that one piece of equipment. I forget what it's called, that Doc Ock then takes, that basically nearly destroys New York. So
That's right.
I would really love to see Black Cat, Spider Man, and Kingpin in that, and I think that would be a fantastic Spider Man 4.
Who would you cast as Black Cat?
Oh, that's a good question.
And would you go, in the second part, would you go the 90s, like, what's the proper term I can say
Va
here?
va voom.
Va va voom version of the character? Or would you maybe go a little more Catwoman-esque from, like, Burton, like a little more darker, you know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to get across. Not so much the latex, but just like a darker version of it.
So I. she's is she still pretty va va voom version? I
I
thought
mean,
she was. Yeah, she is.
okay. Yeah, because that as a boy, her proportions messed me up as a kid. I was like, I know this is unrealistic, but Jesus. Her and Rogue, man. Good Lord.
Yeah, Rogue was pretty
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
bodacious.
Yeah. And then you got the animated version. She had that accent. Oh, just,
I don't know who I would cast as her. Plus,
Celeste
I don't
Burton.
think Disney would be that
That's kind of what I was getting
seductive.
at. I don't think they would go like Tiggle Bitties popping out of a leather suit.
No,
I mean,
I don't think they would.
I really, if anything, they would poke fun at it. I don't like they did in what the not the last Suicide Squad, but the one before that, where she like walks by the Harley suit. She's like, no, not that, and she like puts
Oh
on the
yeah.
other suit.
Well,
Yeah,
they did that too in Jessica Jones, right?
did they?
Yeah, in Jessica Jones, when Trish was trying to get when Trish was becoming Hellcat, they put her in her original Hellcat
I have to go
costume.
back and watch that.
Yeah, and she was like, no. Yeah, they put her in the Hellcat costume.
Well, because I know in the Luke Cage show they did the callback to the Power Man where he had
Hmm.
like where he broke out of the prison. He had like the metal crown and like the metal bracers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they did that too with Jessica Jones. They showed her old.
Oh, okay.
Oh gosh, what was she called? Why am I blanking on her superhero name all of a sudden? Why can't I remember it? Anyway, they showed that costume too.
Wonder Girl. I don't know. Oh, she's anime Black Cat now. Good Lord, look at Mary Jane. Wow.
Power
What?
Woman. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, she's always been kind of.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest. They're a little twiggy. I've got it. Cat Dennings done. Next.
Cat. She's already Darcy.
Shh. She can do both. Cat's already in her name. Halfway there.
Yeah, Black Cat's really snarky too. She's super snarky and sassy. She's very sassy.
That's true. Which makes sense why she would fall for somebody like Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm. Even though they break up.
Yeah.
Eh,
Sag.
Sag. Is it though?
Because that was a good. I like that actually.
I mean, I'm really hoping they bring her in. I don't see why they wouldn't.
At this point, neither do I.
To be honest, I think it would be silly not to.
Maybe in She-Hulk.
Maybe She-Hulk defends Black Cat.
Yeah, or like yeah. It was like a cameo intro.
She-Hulk defends Matt Murdock. Which I'm really excited. Apparently, on the No Way Home, there's an extra deleted scene with Daredevil.
Oh yeah, I was reading about that.
So
I did read about that.
Can't wait to see what that one is.
And the concept art showing Deadpool and Shang-Chi.
Yeah, and someone said that Deadpool was fighting Proxima Midnight, but I don't think it was Prox, because Prox is dead.
Yeah, it does look like her spear though, but it doesn't really look like her, because it looks like she has like predator dreads on the back of her head almost. And I don't remember Proxima having those, so I don't. Yeah, I saw.
I didn't
see
really.
What people were getting at.
Yeah, I didn't really look closer. I'll have to look at it closer and see if I can figure out who it is. But I don't think it's Prox. Thank you guys so much for listening. We really appreciate it. Remember, you can catch us every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. in the Kittyland Discord. We will be deciding who we're doing next week. Not totally sure yet. We got to discuss it some more. But this one was super fun. Kingpin is just such a deep character that I feel like we didn't even we didn't even make a divot in him.
We talked about him a lot, but really there's so much more.
Yeah, there's so much more. So thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you guys all next week.